And I told him this morning he's quickly becoming one of my favorite people. He is awesome. I'd like to introduce you to Reverend Dr. Jerry Troyer.
Thank you, Reverend Gina, and good morning, dear ones, or good afternoon or good evening if you're watching later. It is an honor and privilege to be back with you. Thank you so much, Reverend Gina, for the opportunity. Glorious day out there. There's a reason we live in Southern California, right? Yes. Oh, it's one of those. Is that better? Yeah. There we go. Anyway, great to be back with you, Reverend Gina. Thank you. So our topic for today is happiness. As soon as, So this teaching we call New Thought, Religious Science, Unity, Divine Science, whatever area that we come from, invites, encourages, and even challenges us to keep moving. Unlike traditional Christianity, where in some traditions you get saved and then you can just hang out till the sweet by and by. With all love and respect, there's no judgment there. It's just what it is. But we're here to keep moving. So take another class, get another degree, set those goals and dreams and all the rest of that. Keep moving and doing and going and so forth. Greater abundance, more wonderful relationships, the new, the bigger, the better, which is terrific. That's what we're here to do, is to keep moving and step into the greater good and live our greatest lives. But do we ever reach a point when we can relax, settle in, look at our lives like God did on the seventh day and say, it is good? Not that I'm done, not that I'm finished, not that I will at some point decide to change the color of the living room, or get a new car, or lose that 20 pounds, or gain that 20 pounds, or whatever it is. But can we be satisfied? Can we be happy in this moment? Or does our destination anxiety keep us moving? You might have heard that expression, destination anxiety. I'll have peace as soon as, I'll be successful as soon as, I'll be happy as soon as I get the new job or retire. I'll be happy as soon as I adjust my BMI. I'll be happy as soon as I have a certain balance in my bank account. I'll be happy as soon as I get the new relationship or get out of the old relationship. I'll be happy as soon as. But I don't like the word problem, but the opportunity for us is to recognize that as we're postponing our joy and our happiness and our feeling of success, we're missing out on the joy and wonder of the moment. Remember the song, everybody's working for the weekend. So what does that say about the job that you're going to? Millions, so it's Sunday about 11 o'clock a.m. Pacific time. There are people all over the world, at least in this hemisphere, that are wishing and hoping and praying and begging and pleading that they don't have to go to work tomorrow. What does that say? If we really don't want to do it, that's the still small voice saying, maybe there's something better for you. Maybe there's something different for you. Or could you look at why you don't want to go to work and see if there's something that you can change about yourself to make that job or that situation better? Everybody's working for the weekend. What if we could get that our worth, really feel, really accept in this moment that our worth and value and resulting feeling of happiness and satisfaction has nothing to do with anything outside ourselves, but instead has to do with the fact of who we are and whose we are. I love to talk about what we don't talk about. I love to talk about grief and loss, and I think we did that the last time I was with you. We talked about that toxic positivity and spiritual bypass that we don't like to look at, and how important it is that we allow ourselves to do that. The experience of forgiveness as a process, not an event. Without the magic wand, it just doesn't work. And the possibility of being radically content. I love Facebook. I know, it's okay. You may or may not. But I love Facebook and I don't have shares of Meta. I'm not a close personal friend with Mark Zuckerberg. I have no financial or emotional dealings. But I love Facebook because there's so much cool stuff. And I reconnect with people. I get amazing insights. I get amazing quotes. And God made scrolling so that if that's just really goofy, or that I don't agree with that, or that's not what I wanted to see, I just keep scrolling. But I found this book, and the title is Radically Content, Being Satisfied in an Endlessly Dissatisfied World. And we'll talk much more about that this afternoon in my workshop, because this totally rang my chime, and I'll tell you more about that as we go. So we're talking this morning about being, doing, and having enough, starting with being. So, don't tell anybody, but there are strange and wonderful things about me. I don't know for whatever reason, my dexterity with my hands isn't all that it could be. And so, I can't believe I'm going to tell the world this. I tie my shoes with rabbit ears. Thank you. I type with one finger on each hand. Thank you. Do the shoes get tied? Yes. Does whatever we're typing, does it get typed? Yes. Because all of those things about me and all those wonderful things about you that are unique to us make us the unique beings that we are. Well, you should do it differently. Should is my favorite word. If we could take a word out of the dictionary and send it into space, it should be should. Don't you think? Because if I'm shoulding on myself, that means I am telling myself to do something that I don't want to do. And if I'm shouldn'ting on myself, I'm telling myself to not do something that I really want to do. So I have no interest in algebra, geometry. I took life sciences in high school in my senior year just to get the science requirement out of the way. But I really like to write, and I really like to talk in front of people. A lot of people don't. A lot of people, they do the list of the things that scare people the absolute most, and public speaking is right up there at the top of the list. It's not a thing. The point is, and you have those wonderful things that you absolutely love and adore doing and are so good at. And how important it is for us to recognize the gifts that we have and the passions that we have nothing to do with anybody else. I want to do that. I don't want to do that. And not only is it okay, but it's absolutely necessary. We'll talk more about that. Do we recognize, remembering Course in Miracles, God Himself? God Himself would be incomplete without me. Right this red hot second. Not as soon as, but right this second. We are already the beloved. Do we honor and celebrate the fact that we are unique expressions of spirit along with everything that we've brought with us up till now? Or if you come from traditional Christianity, do we still have some conflict related to original sin? Remember original sin? Yeah. Do we discount our worth and value because of what somebody else told us? Are we working, and again, dating myself, quoting Joni Mitchell from 1992, are we working to get back to the garden? If you don't remember that song, it's okay, I don't want to hear about it, but some of us still do. We might start comparing ourselves. Well, when you reach a certain age, you should be, or you shouldn't be, or you should have the bank balance, or the career path, or the college degree, or be in the relationship, or whatever. But how important it is for us to recognize that we are on our path just as everybody else is on theirs. My other favorite book is by Wayne Muller. The title is The Life of Being, Doing, and Having Enough. And he writes, as seeds watered by the rains of spring, we fare best when nourished deeply and well by the simple daily nourishment of daily acceptance of who we are, mercy for that which we have been, and unconditional love for who we will become. We may gradually come to feel ourselves as children of spirit and grace, and perfectly good enough at that. So that's being, and then doing. So I was raised a Missouri Synod Lutheran. I'm not recovering because there's a great deal of richness and value that I bring with me as a result of that experience. But one of those was original sin. And so, if you might remember, baby's born, he gets whacked on the butt, and it goes downhill from there because we're already sinful. Well, the pastor said that. And they said that over and over again. And I would suggest for us, with all due respect to the beloved pastors in the room, that pastors don't always know what they're talking about. With all love and respect, we don't. It's so important for us to recognize, pastors in the room, it's so important for us to recognize, does that make sense? Really? Does that make sense? And decide if that's our truth, whether it's their truth or not. But I came from this place of not being enough. So the original sin, the sexual orientation, the 4 or 5 other things, and so I would do anything. Remember that song from the Backstreet Boys? I'd go anywhere, do anything. It doesn't matter who you are, where you've been, as long as you love me. And that's really hard work. It's really hard work when we don't recognize our worth and value and take the opportunity to be happy with who we are, where we are. Not that we're done yet, but right now, we're the beloved. We might come with that belief from childhood. Remember, in the 4 Agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz talks about our domestication and what we learned growing up about what men do versus what women do and how it, again, should be and what the rules are. And so if you broke the rules, and I did from an early age, there could be some shame and some guilt and all the rest of that, that maybe years or decades or centuries later keeps us from experiencing all the good that life has for us, keeps us from being happy right in this moment in our own skin. And so the opportunity is to look and say, I don't believe that. That's not my truth anymore. And lovingly release what no longer serves us and what is not true for us. We're going to talk in the workshop about, oh no, wait a minute, I don't want to say that yet. I love this topic. I just so love this topic. Can we say, yes, I want to do that? And can we say, no, I don't want to do that? So Clark is at Disney World, bless his little heart. We're not, but he is, and that's okay. He reached out to me on Facebook, which I appreciated. So my beloved and I are big Disney fans as well. And if you've been to Disneyland in Anaheim, you know they have a roller coaster. And it's a big roller coaster. And the roller coaster goes around. Well, it goes around, but also goes upside down. I don't like roller coasters. I don't like experiences that put me in a different gravitational situation than what is normal and natural. We went. Okay. All right, fine. Close my eyes. And Oliver said, well, you have to keep your eyes open. No, I don't. Because back in the day, oh my God, well, you have to do that. It's important that you do what people tell you to do. It's important that you follow the rules. No. So we went, so as you may know, Disney, and I think they do it in Florida as well, but in Anaheim, they do something called Oogie Boogie Bash, which is the Halloween. So about 3 months of Halloween, they do the parade and they do the hoo-ha and all the rest of that. And so we went to Oogie Boogie, and he's like, okay, let's go ride the roller coaster. And I said, let me hold your backpack and you go and do that and have a wonderful time. See, because when we get to a certain point in our lives, and I would suggest that wherever you are in your life, this is the perfect point. We can say, yes, I want to do that. And no, I don't. Can we say no? I don't know about you, but it's been my experience that I need to be honest with myself and the world and say, yes, I want to do that, and say, no, I don't want to do that, because if I say yes when I mean no, it doesn't go well, because I have regret. And then I have resentment. So I regret saying yes when I wanted to say no, and I have resentment toward you because you asked me and you knew I would say yes. And it's just a big mess. So I don't know about you, it's a process, not an event, but sometimes, so how long do we spend saying no? Well, I would really love to help, but the problem is that, I've got to wash my hair. I've got to take the dog out. I've got all these things. And so we spend 45 minutes coming up with excuses for why we don't want to do that. versus, no, you have to come to the workshop. I have a suggestion on how we can do this in one sentence. So you have to come to the workshop to hear more about that. But think about that. How do we, because it just doesn't work when we do something, when we do something out of obligation, it just doesn't work. And we have all of those less than wonderful emotions versus saying, thanks so much, but we'll talk more about that. The problem comes in when I say yes or say no very often, because then I have the thought, but what will they think? I have this book with me, and I'd love it if this lights you up. You're welcome to take a look at it after the service this morning. But consider this. What will they think is a 4-word question that has killed more dreams and happiness than any other. Who is they, and why do we care so much about what they think? Who is this faceless group of people that's going to come for us if we don't measure up to their ideal? And why are we not encouraged to examine this idea we take as an absolute, inconvertible truth? What will they think? How often do we make our decisions based on our fear of what will they think? Are you familiar with the Red Hat Society? Just reminded. So those of you who don't know, there's this most amazing writing by this English woman about an older lady who wears purple with a red hat that doesn't go and doesn't suit her. And so she talks about being mischievous and having an amazing time and not being concerned about what somebody else will think. And while it's important for us to come from a place of love and compassion and all the rest of that, it's also important for us to recognize that love must dwell within, and we must recognize that love within ourselves. And not only is it okay, but it's absolutely necessary to say, yes, I want to do that. And no, I don't want to do that. Because otherwise we're postponing our happiness until we get done with whatever that is that we didn't want to do in the first place. And we miss out on the joy and the wonder of all that time doing what we didn't want to do, or not doing what we wanted to do. So being, doing, and having. If there is a regret, it could be that I didn't have the money to invest in self-storage facilities. Do you know? And don't need to raise your hand, but how many of us have so much wonderful stuff that we can't live without, that there's not enough room in our house and we got to go rent a space to put it? I bought a Peloton. During the days of COVID, I bought a Peloton, and it was wonderful. And I was so proud of myself because even though I couldn't go to the gym, I could ride the Peloton. And it was so wonderful because I didn't have anything to pile the clean blankets on. And so then I could pile the clean blankets on the Peloton. And then one day it went away, thank goodness. But consider what we have and think about the concept of clutter. And my other favorite book the title is Clutter Busting by Brooks Palmer. And he writes, currently you live in the most expensive type of trash can. The trash in your home or work environment consumes precious space and zaps energy from your life. It's time to make the place you live your home again It's time to renew your energy. It's time to take out the trash. What trash, you ask? The things you hold on to that are no longer useful to you in a positive way. See, because if I've got my words, not his, if I've got the exercise machine in the corner and I'm using it to beat myself up because I'm not using it, that's clutter, because it's not there supporting me in a positive way. These things may be worn out or brand new, but they're trash because they have lost their value. Such things no longer serve a positive purpose, and they certainly don't add to your quality of life. They are barriers to good, powerful, and necessary change. Clutter Busting by Brooks Palmer. Love that. And the clutter, I would suggest, can be in the stuff in the garage, but it can also be in relationships, in work, in any situation in our lives that doesn't make our tails wag. Can be clutter. Do we allow ourselves, see, even as I talk about that, my ego says, well, you shouldn't be selfish. But what's our concept? What's our perception of the word selfish? If life is lived from the inside out, aren't we here to have a wonderful time? As not hurting anyone else, coming from the place of love and compassion and understanding and all the rest of that for others, but also for ourselves. And if it doesn't make me happy, that's okay. We can say, and we'll talk about yes and talk about no. So why does it matter? Well, because life just works better when we're happy. That's what we're here for. That's why we live in Southern California and not Siberia. Or you get to fill in the blank. Because it's wonderful. It's the energy and the weather and all the rest of that. That's what we're here for. That's what we're invited to do and even challenged to do, is to see what our soul calls us to do and say yes, and see what our soul calls us to stop doing and say no. So another quote from Wayne Muller. What would we need to change in our eyes? What shift could we make so we might see in ourselves, our relationships, our work, taking the good with the bad, the failures with the successes, and then, as God assessed the whole of creation, look at the raw, unwashed truth of all we see and say, it is good. Yes, it may change. We'll grow. We'll heal. What we want today may be different from what we want next year. But for now, if we just stop for an instant at our current educational level, at our current bank balance, at our current whatever, and say, it is good because I'm the beloved. And if it makes me happy, it must be good. Is it okay to be radically content? Is it okay to say, wow, it is? And not only is it okay, but it's necessary, because again, life is connected, and our satisfaction and our tail wagging experience, using a purely spiritual term, reflects in our physical health and in our relationships and in our willingness to get out of bed in the morning. Have you ever had a job that Friday night you started dreading going to work Monday morning? That's, no matter how much money they pay you, it's not enough. It's just not enough. It's so important for us to find those things that make our hearts sing. So this afternoon, starting at noon, we're going to do a deeper dive into some of this, and I invite you to stay with me. I have no idea when the Dodgers play again, but whatever they're going to do or not do, they'll do it without us, so it's okay. And the Rams and the Chargers will do whatever they're going to do without us. But take the class, repaint the house, clean out the garage, go to the gym, write the book, whatever you want to do. But I invite, encourage, and challenge us, including me, to allow that inner wisdom and say, yeah, I want to do that. I want to go to Iceland. Anybody else? Anybody else want to go to Iceland? Yeah, I want to meet a puffin. Let's get a group together. I want to hang out with a puffin. Don't need to, I know, it's ridiculous. No, it's not ridiculous. We don't have to explain it. We don't have to rationalize it. It doesn't matter. Because I want to do it. Let's talk about that. I love that idea. And make sure, and we'll talk about this afternoon as well, that this map, and I think Mike showed the map, and Mike, if you did, thank you for that. The map, it's from the movie Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. And so I was thinking about all the different routes that we take to find happiness as compared to just being right in the moment. But make sure that the route that we take and the stops that we make are on our map and not somebody else's. That we're living our lives and not somebody else's. Because I'm not happy, I'm not satisfied, I'm not joyful if I'm living my life out of obligation rather than out of my own creativity. And from time to time, we can take the opportunity to move from FOMO, which is fear of missing out, to JOMO, which is the joy of missing out. Y'all just go do that. Y'all just ride come on, Jerry, roller coaster, thank you. Y'all just go and do whatever it is you want to do, and that's so wonderful. I'm gonna go have a coffee. And that's okay. And not only is it okay, but it's necessary, because we get to decide happiness in this moment. Thank you all so much. Namaste.